OpenClaw is insanely powerful, but the biggest question that I keep hearing is, what do I actually build with it that makes an impact? Not another dashboard, not another look what this AI can do project, something actually practical. So today in this video, I'll be showing you guys how I built a fully functioning personal AI assistant that can call businesses on my behalf. It makes real phone calls, it talks naturally, it handles back and forth conversation, it books appointments, and it hangs up like a real human assistant would. But here's the most interesting part. This isn't just a cool automation, this is actually something you could package and sell to busy professionals or even local businesses who don't want to deal with phone calls anymore. In this video, I'll break down the exact OpenClaw agent I built, how it connects to a voice AI to make phone calls, how the dynamic logic adapts to any request, and how this can turn into a real AI service offer. So without any further ado, let's jump in and get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with building this agent. Now, the best part is that this agent is actually very simple to build. So even if you have no experience with AI agents, you've never built an agent before, this is going to be a pretty simple build for you. To start off, I do have OpenClaw set up. If you don't have OpenClaw set up, that's totally fine. You can check out my video on that. The link for that is going to be in the description. And if you're setting up OpenClaw, by the way, just a quick tip, do not set it up on your main computer because it will get access to pretty much all the files on there. Set it up on a VPS and you'll thank me later. The VPS that I'm using is Hostinger. Hostinger is one of the cheapest and most reliable ways to set up OpenClaw. So be sure to check them out. Link is going to be in the description. And if you use the coupon code NAFE3D, you will get an additional 20% off. But with that being said, let's get started with the agent. So once OpenClaw is set up, what we want to do next is set up our Retell AI account. So Retell AI is basically a voice AI platform, and you can use this to build, voice agents that are going to call people. But to get started with Retell, you can go to the link in the description and you can create your own account. Once you have your account created, you're going to be on the dashboard. You can just click create an agent and select voice agent. Once you do that, make sure to select single prompt agent because you want to keep it very simple, and start from blank should be fine. You can press create and that should take you to the Retell AI agent builder. Now this is where we're going to add our prompt for our agent, which is going to give it instructions on what to talk about and how to talk. And then you can obviously test your agent here. You can customize your agent completely using the speech settings. You can even change your voice here. Your model can also be changed, and your language of course can also be changed. So let's get started with first adding our prompt. So what I recommend you to do is use ChatGPT for generating Retell prompts because it's really good at doing that. And it also adds a lot of information that if I were to, for example, write my prompt myself, I would probably miss, right? So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I asked it to write me a prompt for a Retell AI agent, which is going to be acting like my personal assistant. And it can call, different businesses. You can book appointments. It can reserve tables at restaurants, for example. It should be able to do all those things, in an outgoing call. And so this is the prompt that it gave me. I will be leaving this prompt in the description, by the way. If you just want to copy this and clone this exact agent, you can do that, but I'm just going to be copying this whole thing and I can paste it inside of Retell. Now if you read this, you can see that it says you're a human personal assistant. I'm going to be changing this to Nafe's personal assistant because it will introduce itself as Nafe's personal assistant, which is important. And your goal is to talk about this specific request. Now this right here wrapped in these two curly braces is actually a dynamic variable. Dynamic variables are basically variables which are going to be passed in when you call the API for Retell. If you don't know what that means, that's totally fine. We're going to be understanding that in just a bit. But basically, what this does is that this place will be populated by whatever we want this agent to talk about. So for example, if you want to book a haircut appointment, this variable right here is going to say, for example, book a haircut appointment for 2 p.m. on, a certain Tuesday, whatever. It will have instructions on what the agent is supposed to do. And I also added this example, starting sentence. So I'm just going to be changing this. I'm calling on behalf of Nafe, and then you can obviously, state the request. And it also gives us some examples on, what it could be, what it should be able to do. And I think this whole thing should be good. You can obviously read through it if you want. Once again, I will be leaving this exact prompt in the description so you guys can just copy this. In the welcome message, we want to make sure that AI speaks first because it's going to be an outgoing call. And with that, that is pretty much all you need to do inside of Retell. You can obviously change your speech settings and just fine tune your agent to be exactly the way you want it to be. However, for the purposes of this demo, this should be good enough. Then we can just go ahead and publish this. And what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to attach an outbound phone number. So I'm just going to come down to select phone number and I'm going to check the outbound phone number. And I will be selecting this number that I own inside of Retell. I'll be showing you guys how to get your own number in just a bit. But once you have your number, you can just select it and then click publish. Now your agent should be ready. The way you get your number, by the way, is by going back to the home page. And then you can go to phone numbers and you can just click plus and buy a new number. Numbers are pretty cheap. Standard numbers are $2 a month and that should be good enough. Or you can also get a toll-free number as well if you'd like. But you can just select whichever number you want from this list and click purchase. Then you should be able to buy your number. So once you get your number, you're going to have to go to your agent And then you can, when you're publishing it, make sure to select that number as your outbound phone number. Now, once that is done, your voice AI agent is pretty much ready. Now, all we need to do is we need to basically tell OpenClaw how to trigger this agent, or in programming language, you call this how to call the API of this agent. We're going to teach OpenClaw how to do that, and it's going to be a pretty simple prompt, which is right here. So the prompt is, whenever I send you a name and a phone number of someone, you should call them by calling this Retell AI API. The API is down here. Depending on the context I give you, populate the dynamic variables. Name will be the name of the person you're calling. What to talk about is the topic of discussion. For example, booking an appointment or something. Make sure to include enough context so that the agent can complete the task. And now here we have this API request. If you don't know what an API request is, it's a way for a computer or an AI agent to talk to another platform. In this case, it's going to be OpenClaw talking to Retell without you having to manually go and trigger a call. So if you want to build this exact agent that we're building, I'm going to be leaving this in the description so you can just copy this exact thing. You don't need to do anything else. However, if you do want to customize this and you want to add other fields as well, or if you want to go, deeper into this and customize it more, I'm going to be leaving a link to the docs for this as well in the description. And as you can see, there's so many different fields that you can populate, and you can, so many customizations that you can do. But for us, this should be good enough. The only thing you're going to have to change in this, there's actually two things. For the first thing is going to be your API key. So you can see that this is my API key. I'm obviously going to delete this after I finish recording this video, and you should also treat your API key like a password and keep it completely secret. But how do you get your Retell API key? It's pretty simple. You go back to Retell, go back to home, and go down to settings, API keys, and just go ahead and add a key, and that should give you an API key here, which you can then copy and paste it instead of this. Once that is done, you're also going to have to update your from number. So your from number is going to be the number that you attach to your agent, which you purchased from Retell, and your to number, doesn't matter whatever you add here, it will be replaced by the number you give it, when you're telling OpenClaw to call someone. And your dynamic variables, again, this what to talk about is basically right here. If I go back to my agent, you can see that whatever OpenClaw adds here, it's going to be essentially copy and pasted over here. And we also have this name dynamic variable. So you can also add, for example, you can add a line. You can be like, you are calling, and inside these two curly braces, you can write name, and that will automatically be added as a dynamic variable. And whatever value OpenClaw populates over here, it is going to replace this name right here. All you need to do is copy this whole thing, go to OpenClaw and paste it in, and then it will basically create a tool for it, and you should be good to go. Now, if I ask it, to call Abdul, I just added my own number for testing purposes. So call Abdul and ask him if he is available to book a haircut appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m. All right, so now I should be calling my phone. Let's see if it works or not. And as you guys can see on my screen as well, I am getting a phone call. So if I just accept it.
I am calling on behalf of Nafay. I was wondering if I could book a haircut appointment for tomorrow, February 17th at 2 p.m. Is that time slot available?
So as you can see, it's calling the barber on my behalf and it's booking an appointment. And again, this is a very basic and bare bones setup. You can customize this and you can add so many different things on this. Just to give you an example, what you can do is you can go to Retell and you have this whole section of post-call data extraction. What you can do with this is basically once you are done with the call, it's going to extract information from that call, and you can even send that back to OpenClaw. You can set that up. It's going to be pretty simple. Just ask OpenClaw how to do it and it should tell you, everything. And that is the reason why OpenClaw is super powerful. It can do a lot of things on your behalf, and it's super easy to set up as well. Another thing that you could also do is probably hook this up with Google Sheets. So if you go to skills, you're going to find this skill called GOG. So you can see there's this skill called GOG. You can set this up and you can basically hook this up to your Google Calendar, for example. You can hook this up with a Google Sheets file. So instead of, telling it in chat who to call, you can just add that number and name to a Google Sheets file, and it should automatically call them. You can also connect this with Telegram. So you can just have a Telegram bot on your phone, and whenever you tell it to call someone, it's going to do that automatically. The possibilities really are endless. And the purpose of me making this video was just to show you guys how to get started with this, how to sort of, make a basic agent so you guys can build upon that. But yeah, so that was it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope you guys learned something new. If you have any questions or suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.